This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News. This is part 3 of our business course, we'll call it, for lack of a better way to describe it. We're talking about business expenses, pricing, how to put this all together. Part 1, we talked about some typical expenses from a mobile DJ. We looked at the mobile DJ specific and kind of set up a little sample company, what have you, and figuring out how much it costs us to produce a show, how much we basically needed to charge to cover our expenses for a given show. Part 2, we looked at how we would price ourselves if we're just starting out, and looking at a couple of different aspects of that. Part 3 is business expenses. Now I've got a great resource, and I'm going to actually put a link to this lady's site. I'm going to show you. I've just created a sheet with the information, but she's got it on the website, and it goes through everything in detail. I haven't. We're not going to go through and talk about things to the level in what she did, but it's great information. The lady's name is, let's pop it up here. Let's go. And I think I got to move it over just a little bit here so you can see it better. That shows. Barbara Vopa, I believe is the lady's name. I'll put a link in the description below to this page so you can check it out. But she's gone through. She's a tax preparing person, as you can see, registered tax preparer. Barbara's put together a great list of different topics and such. And I wanted to go through and talk about a couple of these. And again, you can check these out online. We'll put a link in this below the video of Barbara's site so you can see these and kind of read more about it, because we're not going to go into that. But she breaks each and every one of these down. And what's really kind of cool about it is if you do have worked with tax forms, the way she's done this is how you organize your expenses for your business. Now, some of us don't do expensing of our businesses or don't even report our income on our taxes. If you don't, you're really leaving a lot of money on the table, literally. It's a cash business. I don't have... No, that's dumb. That's bad. And you are, again, leaving a lot of money on the table. Because when you have a small business and you do the bookwork properly and have someone who's doing your accounting or getting your numbers and getting it to an accountant to do your taxes, you're going to save a lot of money overall, because really the United States tax code is really there to help promote and to help people have a small business and to make money with that by having depreciation, deductions, write-offs, what have you. You can definitely save a ton of money if you're running a small business and doing your bookwork and such properly. Anyway, some of the things that she's talked about. Let me get back here. Advertising, of course, when the DJ can be, she's got business cards, flyers, what have you. The big area with us as mobile DJs is going to be online advertising with websites, and doing some things on Facebook or AdWords, Google AdWords. If you're doing some YouTube stuff, there's a lot of places. It's a changed world. She's not taking into account for the online stuff because, well, that's fairly new, but as DJs, that's a big area, and it will be, maybe as much as 25% of your income could be directed towards advertising, depending upon how and what types of events you do. Bank charges is something a lot of us overlook. Sometimes there's different fees for using our ATM card. There's check fees. There's check what have you. Late fees. All those things are there, and you can deal with those. Publications, like if you subscribe to the Disc Jockey News, ta-da! Yes, that is a tax deductible thing. So if you have that, or if you belong to one of the associations, whether it's ADJA or NAME or even some others, Canadian Disc Jockey Association, whatever, those are tax. Again, it's more U.S. and maybe the Canadian one isn't, but I'm pretty sure it is. Things to think about. Freight, again, this is something out of the business, so that one's probably not. But even if you do, you're shipping things back and forth. I have had to ship some gear. Yeah, it's an expense. Insurance, there's many different insurances. There's business insurance. She talks about that in the next one. There's health insurance for small business people. These are areas in which your accountant will be able to help you with, but it can be a huge write-off. Interest, the coolest one is interest on credit cards. If you're buying gear on credit cards and you have interest and it's related to the business, that is also something that can be dealt with. Dry cleaning wasn't something that when you first start DJing and you're wearing jeans and a t-shirt you think about, but you know what? It does cost you to do laundry for your attire. The tricky area is what's personal laundry and so that doesn't work too well. What I've literally gone to do is I have all of my different shirts that I'm wearing, and I have them laundered, so that way I can keep it separate. And secondly is that generally the laundry machines they use in the water that they use is different than what we use at home. So my shirts don't get dingy looking as quickly. After washing them a half a dozen times, they still look really, really great. Professional services, office rents. There's just a lot of cool things. One on 15 here, travel. Travel's a big one, of course, for us because, we've got maintenance of vehicles. We've got, procurement of vehicles, for one thing, that can handle what we have. And, with trailers, you're replacing tires and bearings, repacking bearings. And sometimes you got to go and redo the inside, whatever. There's just lots of things with travel and repairs. Utilities is another area that a lot of DJs won't. The home office thing is something that the accountants and such recommend you stay away from. Don't claim a home office because you can do that and it will be fine as long as you do it and do it right and you keep track of your expenses and you keep track of your footage and such. It's all about paperwork, a paper trail. Your vehicle, my truck's sitting right over there that I use and I have a little ledger in there that I keep track of my miles, what's personal and what's business. That way I've got my written proof. Same thing with your home. I have my areas that are written up. If I'm using those, I keep track of that. So I know which footage is being used for that. In this particular case, we've got an office building here with the Disc Jockey News. So obviously there's not much for personal use in that because it's an office for the Disc Jockey News. But there's different things that she's going through. And it's a great list. A lot of things that may not fit, like pest control. My goodness, I hope we don't have issues. But there are, you can, as it's saying right there, rat traps. If you needed them for the business, if you had to protect your, say, corn crop, there's just a lot of things. Traveling to conventions, room and board, the food that you eat. There's just so many little aspects. Even when you're traveling to shows and you're going to go to a show and you can, there's some 50% meals and travel, and there's 100% meals and travel. And it, again, is something a person with the accountant would need to know. The very last part, this is the part I really wanted to get to, where she's talking about substantiation of the items. She talks about, she has 8 different criteria here, and I think, you can see those right there. So when you're doing your ledger, you need to have the date, your times that you do these things. The place. So say if I was going to be going and having a business meeting, and I wanted to be able to write that up, I could go and, so the business meeting would be today. It went from noon to 2 o'clock. And where was it happened? Say I was traveling to Minneapolis. We're going to go down to have lunch outside the Target Center, whatever. Person, I met with Joe and Fred, and they were potential clients. And the reason I'm trying to procure them as clients for and the cost of the event, well, food was this, travel, the travel and these different things. And I've got my receipts for what I spent money on for the day. I can put that in there. When I get to my accountant to do my taxes, I can give him this information or her this information. They will be able to put that into their numbers and put things in the right places so that when the time comes that they can help you to get the best depreciation and deduction, what have you, of all your business expenses. So great list. She's got a lot of stuff here. Take a look through that because it's going to help you to kind of think through and to organize your business a little bit more and to be able to, maybe there's some things here that you didn't even think about and maybe your accountant hasn't talked about, but go through that list a little bit more. See if there's some things there that you could use to save yourself some money, when it comes to tax time. So this is the last part of our 3-part series on the expenses and business side of the DJ. Hopefully there's some good information here for you. This is John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV.